Welcome to In Search of Food, where cooking and eating out does not have to be expensive, where I ignore the Michelin stars and find value for a meal. Welcome back to In Search of Food once again. I'm Anton Ing, and I'm outside here on a warm sunny day on my deck, and we're gonna light the charcoal barbecue. So what I like to do is, as you can see, I did use the charcoal on the charcoal grill itself, but since I want to keep the grill for a long time and I don't want this area to all rust out, and then this will break and then you won't have a area to hold your charcoal. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a aluminum baking sheet here, and this is where we're going to dump all the ingredients, or should I say wood products, to light your barbecue. My barbecue is all natural. Everything I use is natural wood chips with fibers to light the barbecue. So we'll begin layering the barbecue. So let me start from the beginning. When you light the barbecue, you can't just put large hunks of charcoal in there, expect it to light up. You can use a large blowtorch and just light the charcoal on fire with butane or whatever, but I don't like to do that. I like the all natural way of doing this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to dunk at the bottom some flower fibers. These are just dead flower fibers. They're branch-like fibers that are dead from my tree. So I'm going to do this, add a little here, and then we're going to crisscross a whole bunch of these at the bottom. And then once I get a layer of these tree fibers, I will begin to add a second layer of, these are pine cone needles. You can use whatever you want. You can use wood shavings, but I will use pine cone needles. Okay, so you need to add products at the bottom in certain layers. And then you gotta make sure the wind doesn't blow the pine cone needles away. So I'm gonna add some dry, dead branches. So these are dry, dead branches. So you gotta make sure all your stuff is dry. So once we get all these dry, dead branches on top, this will be great. And then fire will start. You have to remember you need to layer your barbecue with different layers items. So now we got some branches here on the layer. Now I'm gonna add another layer of pine cone needles just to get it going, and then a little bit more of the dead flower shrubs on top. So now that should be okay to start the fire. And then in the beginning, I'm going to add a couple of pieces of charcoal on top and some lump charcoal on the bottom. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just add a couple of pieces of charcoal. This is the charcoal biscuits, just to hold things down. And then on top of that, I'm going to add some big pieces of lump charcoal. Lump charcoal is the best thing to cook with. I only cook with natural products. I do not use gas or propane anymore because these items will give off fumes to the food and they'll be bad for you. So I'll continue building the fire, and then after that we'll start lighting the fire. So now, as you can see, I have my charcoal biscuits at the top. Now we're going to add a couple of pieces of the lump charcoal on top. Just a couple pieces. We don't need to put a lot on here now. This is just to get the fire started. Once we get the fire started, I'll continue to add more lump charcoal on up, and then let the coals burn for a little while, and then we'll start the barbecue. So we'll zoom back now and you'll take a look. So this is going to be my hot side, and this will be my warm side. When you have a barbecue, you always have a hot side and a warm side. You don't want both these sides to have large amounts of charcoal, because this side, as you can see, is going to be the side where when I finish cooking my products or meats, they will go over this side to keep it warm. And this is the side where there's hardly going to be hardly any charcoal. This is the side where you cook it slow, nice and slow. Warm and slow will be this side. So there'll be a large fire on here. Indirect heat will go on here. But I will still leave 1 or 2 coals on here just to keep the side warm. But most of the hot heat will come from this side to this side. So now we have all this going here. I will prepare a small amount of charcoal on this side, and then we will light the fire. Now I brought up my wood-based fibers to show you how the different layers. We have tree branches at the bottom, and then we have some twigs, and then we have some pine needles, and then some more dead tree branches, and then we have your lump charcoal and your charcoal biscuits at the bottom. If you look closely at the bottom, I built this teepee style. So at the very bottom, if you can see over here, there's a little hole in there, so the air will rise up through the cracks, and then it'll just start the barbecue. So let's start the fire and see how it goes. Now, as you can see, the fire is going pretty well. I have a fire here and a fire on that side. So I'm going to let this fire die down and have the coals turn red. Now I'm going to put the grills on top of the heavy flames and heat them up and do a little grill clean. Now, as you can see, the grill is nice and clean. It's starting to heat up real good. And I think my thermometer is not working too well. But you got to remember, this is going to be the hot side, and this is going to be the warm side. So the first thing I'm going to do while we wait for the charcoals to heat up more is I'm going to start dunking some baked potatoes into the